Hey guys, can you hear me? Can you hear me? I see you. Okay, good. Sometimes my computer's sound doesn't work. Wait a second for Marianne to hop on. It's not quite noon. There she is. Of course, Ashley. And as we go along, guys, if you have questions, I'm going to try to keep this streamlined and really, really simple. But if you have questions, please put them in the chat, and we can get to them if Marianne has time. There she is.
Hey.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. Okay, let's see. Am I here? Yes. Awesome. Happy launch day.
I know. So when we decided to do this, we had no idea that this was
wow, what a day.
Yeah. So it's a jam-packed day, and I know it's in the middle of the day. So we invited other teams to join us, so people will be popping on, and I know a lot of people are excited about the replay for sure. So thank you so much for taking the time out of your day. I know most of us know you and follow you, and you're an inspiration to us, but for those of us who might not know who you are, or those of us who are catching the replay, if you could just share maybe 2 minutes about how you got started with Plexus and kind of what your presence was on Instagram prior to that as well, just so people kind of have a framework.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, hey guys, I'm Marianne. I'm a Sapphire ambassador with Plexus. Never heard of Plexus before Instagram, social media. I'm a mom of 5, and let's see, I have been with Plexus for 15 months this month. So when I first learned about Plexus, it was through my personal Instagram account, private account, and I was following Clean House with Kids, Trisha, who is a diamond. And I watched her for 6 months, okay? And this is important to, I believe, success on Instagram, because it was not an overnight thing where I saw a post and reached out. I watched for 6 months because I needed to build trust with her. I had never heard of Plexus before. She was a stranger on the internet, right? And so it took me 6 months to reach out to her. She actually reached out to me first and said, hey, thanks for liking my post. Can I send you some info? And I said, no, I was just giving you a little love. No. So finally, you know how the story goes. One exhausted afternoon, my hormones were all over the place. I had baby weight. I was cranky. I yelled at my kids too much. I was not the best version of myself, and I couldn't take it anymore. And so I reached out to her. I bought a 7-day trial. I was way too skeptical to purchase an entire triplex, but I knew within 2 pink drinks, it's not that I had seen any results.
She did what?
I just kind of had this feeling like this is going to work. We could not afford for me to stay on this every single month. And so I also knew that in the back of my head, which is why I joined wholesale. Trisha said to me, you could get your products paid for. I had been in a direct sales company for almost 15 years before I got out of it, because we held parties and I was gone all the time. And so I felt like I was kind of burned out. And so I said, that's all I knew. And I said to her, no, like, I am not going to work that because I have 5 kids. Hello. And so I didn't realize, really what this was. Anyway, so she did all the things right. I said no multiple times. And my husband and I ended up having a conversation right here in this room, in my bedroom. And he said to me, look, this isn't in our budget. But this Trisha lady says that you can get your products paid for. You need to find out what that is, because I know you're starting to feel better. And if she is really right and says that you can really do this from your phone. I really think you need to listen to her. And so Trisha and I had a conversation on the phone. I'll never forget it. And she promised me, she said, Marianne, I promise you, you can work this from your phone. You don't have, it's not like what you were involved with before. You don't have to have inventory. You don't have to hold parties. You know, you don't have to, right? And so I trusted her. And you guys, at the time, my Instagram account, I had also just started a public Instagram account, This Loud House, which is what you, if you follow me on Instagram, you know. And I started This Loud House in July, and I started Plexus September, and like 2nd, I think. So it was a brand new account. I had no clue what I was doing. I maybe had a couple thousand followers. It was not anything influential, anything major. I built Plexus and my Instagram account at the same time. So you don't, if you look at my account now and you see 40,000 followers and you're like, well, yeah, of course she went, Sapphire in a year, but you guys, it wasn't 40,000 followers. So I'll give you a quick timeline. So July, I started This Loud House. Plexus, September 2nd. I did do Fast Start Gold, but Fast Start Gold was basically friends and family. Okay. So it wasn't Instagram. I did post on Instagram. I did share my story, but it took time. Remember, it took time for me. I had to build trust with strangers. I had to build a relationship, right? So I went Fast Start Gold. I didn't go gold until December. If anybody tells you you can't rank up in December, they're lying. Okay. I ranked gold in December, and then senior gold in January. Took a month, I think, to build. And then March was ruby, senior ruby, and then emerald in May, and then sapphire in September. So I share that story with you because I want you to understand that you cannot compare yourself to anybody. Like, my journey is my journey and your journey is your journey. But can it be done? Yes. Okay. It can be done. Can it be done from your phone without having to like be a crazy person and, you know, sacrifice time with your family? Yes. Those two things can happen. It might take a little bit of strategy and planning on your time, but you can have your cake and eat it too. You don't have to be on your phone all the time. You don't have to sacrifice tons of time with your family to be successful. So that's kind of me in a nutshell that year.
Okay. So, okay, good to know. I actually thought you had been on Instagram a lot longer than that prior to joining Plexus. So that's good to know. But I'm going to say what a lot of people are probably thinking, which is, how is it possible to do what you do without being on your phone 24 hours a day? I have 4 kids as well. And I'm just learning this Instagram beast. And I mean, we can talk about Instagram all day. There's so many things that you can learn and things like that. And at the beginning, of course, there's a huge learning curve. I think a lot of people are scared initially to kind of delve into it because it is kind of confusing. So that being said, you know, what should be a new person to Instagram? So they're trying to grow their following. They're trying to, you know, talk about Plexus, but also, you know, brand themselves and have good content. What should be like the hierarchy of focus, like in a day for like a newbie who has tons of, you know, 5, 6 children or works full time? You know what I mean? What do you recommend? And I mean, what kind of sacrifices do you feel are going to need to be made in order to build your account in the beginning?
Great question. And I learned this the hard way, because in the beginning I was on my phone all the time, but it was not income producing. Like, I'm like, what was I doing? You know what I mean? It wasn't necessary. Okay. So I learned, and that was maybe the first month. And then I'm like, my husband's like, this is not working. And this is before Plexus. Okay. The family was like, yeah, you need to figure something out, Mom. Cause you know, you can't be like this 24/7. Okay. So I get up at 5 every morning and I work from 5 to 7. And that is, time that I follow up, that I build relationships. You guys, you can have good content all day long, but if you don't, Sorry, my phone.
It's okay.
Plug it. If you do not build relationships with people, nothing is going to happen. And so what you don't see, you see the presets and the pretty photos, but what you don't see is what I'm doing behind the scenes. So what do I do behind the scenes? I make a list every week of 10 to 20 accounts that I want to be friends with. Okay. Because the more friends you can have on Instagram, the better. All right. There is this like whole underground, wonderful, supportive, great community in your niche. And you've got to find out who these people are and be friends with them. And so for me, my niche, it started out only as decor. And so some of these big accounts like that would have, here I have I remember I had 100 followers and I would message people that had 14,000, 20,000. I would like and comment on their posts. I would ask them questions about their house. I would engage with them. I would make friends with them. And then what happened was they started following me and we became friends. And many of them now, a year later, have joined Plexus. But it took so much time, okay, behind the scenes. And so what I recommend that you do is first you got to figure out what niche you're in. Now I'm kind of in a lifestyle niche, not just decor. And so every week, like I said, I make a list of 10 to 20 accounts that I want to become friends with. And if it goes somewhere, awesome, right? And if it doesn't, off the list, okay? And so I do that between the hours of 5 and 7 a.m. And then, it's kids and school, and I homeschool 3 of my kids. And, really and truly the most productive, think about when people are on their phone, they're probably not going to be scrolling Instagram at 11 a.m. in the morning. They're at work or they're busy. So you don't need to be scrolling Instagram at 11 a.m. either. Right? I try and figure out the hours that engagement's high, and that's when I'm going to be on my phone. So usually it's first thing in the morning. That's when moms are up doing it, and after the kids go to bed. Okay. So my most productive times are from 5 to 7 a.m. and then from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. at night. Now, am I like this the whole time? No, but that's when I'm really trying to do focus time. I do not scroll social media. And I'll have to say this kind of for me in the beginning, I used to love Instagram. I do love Instagram. Okay. But what I used to love was going on Instagram and scrolling and all the inspo and what's she up to today? I don't do that anymore. Instagram is a business for me. And that's okay. Like I'm not in that season of life right now. If they're on my hot list, yeah, I'm going to look them up and I'm going to go and like and comment on their stuff. But I don't have any playtime really on social media very much, except there are specific accounts that I get lots of inspiration from for posts that have nothing to do with Plexus, just like, I run out of ideas, what's this person posting about, or story ideas. And so I will set a timer and I'll spend maybe 10 minutes going through some of my favorite things and favorite accounts and getting inspiration from them, writing down post ideas. I try and always have my post ready the day before. I know some people will schedule out a month. Good for you. That's not me. I try and now one thing I do during the day with the kids around is I will take pictures, a lot of pictures, but I don't work Instagram a lot during the day. That's kind of when I'm working with my Plexus team and encouraging and answering questions and things like that. So until I had a team, it was kind of free during the day. And now I work that in. Does that answer your question?
It does. I'm going to kind of ask a couple more questions about what you just shared. So during the 5 a.m. to 7 a.m., when you're following up and you're building relationships with these folks, what I'm hearing is basically you're going to that top 10 to 20 list. You're engaging with them. You're asking questions. And you're doing your own post maybe for that day that you had kind of queued up. That's something that I tend to struggle with, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate, is what to post about. I have conversations with other ambassadors and they're like, I sit at home in my, jogging pants all day with, wiping butts and like literally like, what do I have to share of value? And so that would be something I would love you to expand on a little bit, because not everybody is into home decor. Or some people have even told me, I don't have a house that's white and pretty, so how am I going to be successful on Instagram?
Well, I would say to you, because I get it. Like, I'm potty training right now. I get it. But you've got stuff going on in your head, right? Other things besides butts and diapers and, nap time and all of that. And so keep a little journal next to your bed, next to you during the day, and write down thoughts that you have, write down funny stories that happen in your day. What's important to you? What inspires you? Like the accounts that you follow that you're like, oh my gosh, we are Insta besties. They just like rock you to the core. Okay, well, what are they posting about that really resonates with you? And not that you're going to copy their post, but you're going to use that as a springboard for your own content. Okay. To me, you need to be posting about things that add value to people. So you can do that in a couple of ways. You can do it in how-to posts. I am not a DIYer. I try, but sometimes I do some how-to posts, whatever. People do love how-to posts. They love it when I post about what I'm making for dinner. They love it when I post about potty training tips, but how-to posts are an easy thing. And I try and do those, a couple times a week, especially in stories. Okay. Even like curling your hair, doing your makeup, that has nothing to do with home decor, but I think it's kind of fun to see what other moms do and how they do it. You know what I'm saying? I haven't even brushed my hair today, but I am going to do a post on, this is my mom tip. This is how you look cute. You get a $5 hat and you put it on your head, right? You see what I'm saying? So it can just be fun and silly and things like that. Don't think too hard about it. But really, you're going to have to get super introspective about you and your life, and just start writing things down, Does that help?
It does. As far as the differentiation between stories and your main feed, when you go to Marianne's stories, it's, a ton of those little dots at the top, right? There's a ton of stuff. When you go to mine, there's 2. And so like sometimes it's hard for me to kind of find that balance between, do you post them all at the same time? Do you post them throughout the day? How many, stories should you have in relation to posts, especially when you're first starting out? Like, what do you think is a good goal for people?
I think if you're going about your day and you're like, I should do a story about this, do a story about it. You know what I mean? Sometimes I'm like, the kids are just trying to kill each other. I'm going to try and get a quick story in about what I'm making for dinner, but if I think too hard about it and I try and plan for stories, it doesn't work, And so, and sometimes I have to really like rewatch it back because I've had like a naked kid run through it and I'm like, whoops. When I was nursing, my shirt would be like half down there and I'm like, oh, Billy, but as you're going through your day and you're like, other people do stories about this, I should do a story about it, just do it. And you don't have to post it. I post it right then because I'll forget about it. But if you want to save it and post it later, I just kind of post throughout the day. I try and have my face to my followers every day. So like sometimes I post people's testimonies, screenshots of things, if I see inspiration from other people, but I want my followers to see me at least once a day. And so it will be to the end of the day and I'm like, oh, darn it, I haven't done a story yet today with my face. And so it could be me just being like, hey guys, what's up? Happy, Monday. What are you guys doing today? How's your, I like to pretend like they're my friend in my living room and engage in conversation. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So let's talk a little bit more about when you first started out? Obviously, right now, you are considered the hunted. People come to you maybe more often than you currently have to reach out to people about Plexus. So you kind of shared a little bit about how Trisha did that with you. Can you give us an idea of maybe earlier on how you reached out to people about Plexus? Like, did you intentionally reach out to them about the opportunity? And if so, how did you do that? Or were you just totally relationship building, and as you developed that relationship, it came up organically?
Well, it's funny you said that, Kate, because actually I'm in a period where I have definitely sold to and recruited everybody in my funnel. So I'm rebuilding it. But this is what happened to me. I did a ton of relationship building and attraction marketing, as far as I love posting testimonies. And what I would do is I would leave the testimony up on my feed for about a day, and then I would delete it because it didn't really go with the pretty picture of my living room, you know? And I didn't, unless it was a picture of the pink drink, I didn't want people to come to my page and be like, oh, she's one of those health and wellness people. You know what I mean? I wanted some intrigue. So I would leave it up for 24 hours. I would post one, and I still do this. I need to do it more, but I do it more on my stories now. And so I would post a testimony probably 2 to 3 times a week, okay, at a high traffic time. And so I did this for September, October, November, December, and I had a few people reach out about Instagram, from Instagram, but it was mainly kind of friends and family, Facebook. That's how I was building, right? But then January came, and y'all, between January and I think April, it came to like a climax. I added 42 level 1s from Instagram. It was like an explosion, but it was because of those 4 months of like massive relationship building. I don't like to cold message. This is how I cold message. I like to cold message in kind of a super organic way, meaning like if they liked my post, like Trisha said, hey, thanks for liking my post. And it's very short. I'd be like, hey, Kate, happy Monday. Thanks for liking my post. I super appreciate the support. Would you like me to send you the scoop on the supplement that I'm taking? So I do that. Now it's funny. It's hard for me to do it because there's so many Plexus people following me that like 99% of the people liking my posts are in Plexus. Yes. So it's become harder. I used to be able to go through and fire off like 50 messages, and I didn't even have to look at the account because nobody followed me for Plexus, you know? Now it's gotten really complicated. So I do that. And then from the testimonies, I cannot tell you how many people would reach out from those. So many.
Okay. And can you share, just so people understand, when you saying you leave these posts up for 24 hours, you then archive them, right? Because it's not a good idea to delete posts. I've heard that impacts the Instagram algorithm a little bit. So just, there's a little place where you can archive, correct?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I think that the whole point there is to just have a little bit of, when people go to your page, they don't want to instantly know that you're in network marketing. They want to see some kind of value, other pictures. I just learned the world of presets. So like that's fun. And for those of you that don't know what presets are, they're just a way to kind of make your page have great colors, and you can change them by season. And I don't know, they're really fun. But, you want your page to be super, super inviting. So when you have, salesy graphics, or you have, testimonies all over the place, one, it's not you, right? So people that are following you aren't seeing that this is something about you. And two, it's not really adding a lot of value. Super good tips. One of my level 2s asked a question. So she said you were going to talk a little bit more about ways to add value. Could you ask? Yeah. So best ways that you feel you can add value on your Instagram page. Is that somebody else's, or is that you? I just don't want to make sure. I want to make sure people are muted.
I don't think it's mine.
Okay. If everybody can mute their phones, please. Okay.
Okay, so this is a struggle for me. Sometimes I'm like, oh, am I adding any value? Or people getting anything from my feed? So I don't want you guys to think that I'm like, I have it all together and everybody loves my Instagram. I struggle with this daily. I said to my husband the other day, I was like, oh, I just am feeling like I just, not relevant or something, like I felt like my engagement wasn't that great. And I'm comparing to some of these other accounts, and we all play that game, right? Like I have that going on too. And sometimes I look at all my pictures and I'm like, oh, I don't like any of them. Like if I will go to my feed and I'll be like, okay, would I want to follow this person? Like, because you go to certain feeds and you're like, ooh, this is my person, right? And you're like, yes, follow. And I'll go to my feed and see that. And then there's many times that I'm like, oh, I don't like any of these, and so I have those feelings a lot. And I definitely struggle with trying to add value to people and build connections and all the things. And I don't know if we ever have it figured out. And I think staying hungry and trying to always be better is the best thing we can do. And, I study Rachel Hollis. I study Jenna Kutcher, I think is how you say her last name. I study accounts that I really love, that I get value from. And I learn from them, because I'm still trying to figure it out. And so, if they're posting about something that I thought, oh, this is really cool, I'm like, well, I could kind of do my own version of this, I'm really into this. I could, so, I mean, there's just so many things. I think, you could do whatever you're into, really. I mean, you just need to do some hardcore brainstorming and, ask your significant other, hey, babe, what do you think I'm good at? Ask your friends, what would you like if I was going to post on social media? What are the things that, you'd like me to post about? And then you can also do like fun polls in your stories. And I'm going to be doing this at the end of the year and asking, my followers, hey, what are your favorite things I post about? And then you can kind of get an idea of what's going on. But, for me, I think that I like to do like inspiration, real life. I've started doing like more mom fashion. But somebody could find value from your page in so many different ways. And really it's going to come from you being you, because when you're you, those things are going to organically come out. I am not a fashion blogger. Like there's no way. I am not a beauty blogger. I'm not, when I do a makeup tutorial, it's like, this is what I'm using. I'm not telling you anything fancy. It's just, this is me, Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Somebody somebody said that they're not sure even what the difference between a post and a story is. And again, the Instagram world is very, very different. And so I think that what's helped me a ton, and this can be time consuming up front, and I'm sure Marianne, you had to do the same thing, is use Google. YouTube for tutorials to figure this all out. It can be super frustrating, especially if you're not tech savvy, and it can be scary, which is I think a reason a lot of us say I can't do this. But the difference between a story and an actual post is the actual post is on your feed. So when someone goes to your Instagram account, it's all the pictures that are on your feed. Those are regular posts. The stories, there's a bubble around your name, and if you click on that, it's your stories. You can do videos, you can do polls, you can share video clips, which is something I'm trying to learn. I do not know how to make a poll yet, but I'm assuming that it's as easy as going to Google and putting, how do I create a Instagram poll in my story? And just playing around with it. I think that's what you have to do. And maybe in the beginning, you can use some of that time, whether you block it off in the morning or the afternoon or whatever works for you, maybe 20 minutes of that time to do that. what is that goal? What is that goal that you have that day to learn? Do you want to learn how to post a story, and kind of tackle that? Is that kind of what you did in the beginning to kind of learn all this?
I am the queen of pushing buttons. I mean, I just Google and push buttons, and swipe. Yep. It's amazing things that you find, for sure. Yeah.
Okay. Let's see here. There's some other things up here. Ashley, how do you incorporate Plexus after building relationships, bringing it up without being salesy, adding it into your posts? So I'm assuming that Ashley's talking about people that don't maybe like a Plexus post, but maybe you've been building a relationship with them and you think that they would be great. Do you message them? And if you do, what do you say?
Yeah. Well, you guys know you can voice message now on Instagram. Glory, hallelujah.
For real.
So and I'm so excited about this because I feel like it's so hard when you're reaching out to a stranger for them really to feel you. Yeah. And so I use that. And I think that there is no way you're going to be salesy. And, my message a lot of times is, hey, Kate, listen, girl, I have been wanting to ask you about this for a long time. You're probably going to know what I'm going to say. You've probably seen my posts. You guys know what to say, right? But this has just changed my life. And I don't know where you are in your life, but I'm just I try and be super authentic with people. And now that we can do the voice message, I had this one blogger that I reached out to that is a fashion blogger, and she's so fun. She has 5 kids and she's like super perfect and like so not like me. And I said, I was thinking about, because I was like sitting right here in this space thinking about who would be awesome on my team. And all of a sudden her account came to mind. And I messaged her that. I said, Molly Ann, you would be so amazing. And I know if you're like me, we get messages all day long from other network marketing accounts, but girl, listen, and she's somebody I build a relationship with and, back and forth. And I ask her about fashion advice and she asks me about decor and all the things, right? And so I said, you would be awesome. Now, she has a friend that is in Plexus. And so obviously, I'm not going to go there because of her friend. So I referred her to her friend and she's like, yeah, my friend's been trying to get me to, but the whole point is that's how I reached out to her. Right. And yeah, maybe she'll sign up with her friend.
Yeah. I think hopefully, I think it's good to kind of just remind ourselves of that. A lot of times if we start to craft a message, it's going to sound super unauthentic. So really what I do, and I've done this on Facebook for the longest time, is I just tell them exactly what I was thinking in my head. Just like you said, thinking like, you may get reached out to all the time, or you may get messages from other network marketers and, it's uncomfortable or whatever, but I just see this in you. Be personal as much as you possibly can. Okay. A couple more questions and then we're going to let Marianne get on with her day. Mandy. Okay. I don't think that was a question. Okay. When holding the relationship with a stranger, Holding the relationship with a stranger, what do you say to keep the convo going without seeming like you aren't being genuine? What kind of interactions do you make intentional? Okay, I think I know what you're saying. Building the relationship, not holding. Thanks, Meg. Okay, so I think I understand what you're saying. Marianne, I'll let you answer that and then I'll put my 2 cents in it.
Well, if somebody reaches out to me about Plexus and says, okay, what is she using? And, I know that it's about Plexus. I am if it's a stranger, straight and to the point. Okay. Because that just works really well for me. So there's not lots of chit chat. It's more like, they say, what's the pink drink? They say, whatever they say. Right. And I immediately say, Kate, I would love to share with you more. Do you have some health goals right now? And I get them talking ASAP. Okay. I will not, if people say, tell me about Plexus, I never send information first. Never, never, never. It kind of pre-qualifies them too. And then they start talking. But if you look at my messaging, I am like little bitty bit, and there are lots and lots and lots. Okay. So that works really well for closing the deal. Okay. If it's like the relationship building thing, I don't know, you just kind of treat it like your girlfriend, you know, and
Right.
you just try and make it natural. And sometimes you try and start building a relationship with somebody and you don't really have any chemistry and it doesn't really go anywhere. And that happens too, you know? But it will organically happen, and you'll get better at it, you know, the more that you do it. That's the other thing, you guys. I have now done this, and I remember the first time I would be messaging strangers and I was trying to find my rhythm, and I look back at my messages and I cringe at some of the things I was saying. So it took me thousands, you guys, thousands. Sorry, I got a phone call. Thousands and thousands of messages to really feel like I have gotten my groove on. And so sometimes you have to not think so hard about it and just start going. And you'll find your way.
Absolutely. And I think, Megan, you know, when you are building a relationship with a stranger, these are going to be people that you're interested in for some reason, right? So it's going to be more authentic anyway. These are the 10 to 20 people for that week that you, you know, find fascinating, you know, so it's not going to be as hard, because you will be genuine, because you are genuinely interested in their account. And so that's what I would encourage people to do, to be intentional. And I love the idea of just picking 10 to 20 accounts. I've recently just been growing my Instagram, and I've gone up by 1,500 followers in the past 4 days. And I'm like, well, how do I keep up with these people? How do I know these people? You know what I mean? And just trying to figure it out. And I love that tip, because a lot of people follow to follow, and sometimes they'll unfollow, and you want to find the people that you can connect with. And some of the messages and some of the conversations will fizzle and go nowhere, and that's okay. Take them off your list, like Marianne said. But I think it's important to make sure that people that you are building this relationship with, you find interesting. That way it'll never come off as not genuine. How do you reach out about the business? That's from Ashley. So if you see an account that you think is like your friend, maybe if you don't have that great of a relationship, you reach out about business?
Yeah, I think it has to be organic. So I will never, I don't know if y'all get messaged, but I get messaged all the time by all the companies saying, you're so great at what you do. I love your feed. I'm so inspired. You'd be great at what I do. You know, all the messages. And that just turns me off. I am not into that. Because I'm like, you don't know me. You don't know me. I had one company reach out to something that some of y'all know. My son has super severe allergies. Reach out to me about something that he's super allergic to, and I was like, hello, you don't even know me. You can't be like besties with me.
Right.
And so I feel like to me, the business is really personal, right? Like once you start talking about money, it's really personal. And so I build that relationship. Now, sometimes that relationship can be built into, like, okay, last night I had someone that we started talking. She is another, she's a mommy blogger, and we started talking. And by the end of like 45 minutes, we had already gotten to the business, because she said to me, after we had been, talking back and forth, we were talking about presets, that kind of thing. And she said to me, so do you actually make money at that Plexus thing you post about?
Nope.
Like, well, yeah. But see, it was back and forth in friendship. So, let me just give you guys this tip too, before we're done. One of the fun ways that you can build a relationship with people too is to repost their photos. Don't be scared if they've got 100,000 followers. So what? If you like their photo and you want to be friends, repost it. Talk about how amazing they are and what you specifically loved. And that's huge. Talk about somebody. I do this in my stories a lot. Like, these are people you should follow. You could do follow Fridays, and the people that are on your list, if they are, a public accounts that you can tell are trying to grow their Instagram account, put them on your follow Friday list and talk about how great they are. Be as specific as possible why you love their account. That adds value to them. I guarantee you they're going to be like, ooh, this girl made me feel good. I want to be in her space.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Those are awesome tips for sure. And when you're reposting people's photos, obviously make sure that you shout them out, right?
Yes.
And you mention
Yes.
them.
Yeah.
Okay. Don't leave that out or else it'll look pretty bad. Okay. Let's see. I think we're good. Megan, so you're just asking them questions, etc. Yes. So that's piggybacking off Megan's question about building the relationship. So Megan, if there's something of interest to you, whether it be home decor or it's, exercise or, for me, like I have no fashion. So that's something that's interesting to me and I just don't get it. So, building a relationship with those people by asking them questions that they're obviously going to be able to answer well, and you're going to be getting value. So it'll sound genuine. You're building a relationship. And they might start to ask you questions about some of the stuff on your feed. I think that prior, and Marianne, you correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that prior to doing any of these, outreaches and things like that, it's important to get your feed in order so that when they're looking at it, they're not seeing plexus, BioCleanse bottle, stuff, right? Okay.
Yeah. And
So
use presets, you guys. Presets are so easy. I am not a photographer. It's a little pricey, but I've used dreamy presets.
Yep.
Millennial Pink. I've used that. Right now I'm using the Liz Marie blog. Her presets are only $15. What is the name of this other one? I'll tell you, Kate. And she has $15 presets too. And
I got a $5 preset on Etsy.
Yes, Etsy.
That I love. And presets are basically just a filter. You can download an app and you can upload the preset and then you can upload your photos into believe me, I was like banging my head on the table trying to figure out the first time. But once you figure it out, it's really cool. And my idea, and I'm sure people do this all the time, is every season just changing your preset. You know what I mean? So I'm using warm and airy right now. And you know what I mean? It's just one of those things that you can do. And I have a feeling they're going to be my new addiction. So, all right. Super helpful, Marianne. Thank you so much for your time. I really, really appreciate it. If anybody has any other questions, I can definitely, try and answer them myself, but please, have a good day. And I'm so excited for tonight and where our company is headed. So super, super exciting. So thanks again. Everybody have a good rest of your Tuesday, okay? Bye, guys.